Hey all, Melzy here from BEXY'S PC, and in this video I'll be doing something a little different to what we normally do on our channel. I'll be explaining to all what is fibro and why BEXY sometimes doesn't do videos for a few days in a row. I have BEXY here to answer a few questions throughout the video. Hi BEXY.
Hi.
What is fibromyalgia? Just to advise, the details of this video are coming from move.org.au, which is formerly known as Arthritis Victoria. Fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a condition in which people experience symptoms that include widespread pain and tenderness in the body, often accompanied by fatigue and problems with memory and concentration. Fibromyalgia affects 2 to 5% of the population, mainly women, although men and adolescents can also develop the condition. It tends to develop during middle adulthood. Symptoms. The symptoms of fibromyalgia can vary from mild to severe. The most common symptoms are increased sensitivity to pain due to a decreased pain threshold, increased responsiveness to sensory stimuli such as heat, cold, light and smell, extreme fatigue, tiredness, problems with memory and concentration, fibro fog, problems with sleep. Not everyone will experience all of these symptoms. Each person with fibro will have their own unique set of symptoms. The symptoms are variable. They can be mild, moderate or severe. Symptoms may disappear for extended periods of time, perhaps even years. Other people have pain every day or experience variations between these two extremes. Some people with fibromyalgia have other symptoms such as irritable bowel syndrome, irritable or overactive bladder, headaches, and swelling, numbness, or tingling in the arms and legs. Living with ongoing pain and fatigue often leads to other problems such as anxiety and depression. What symptoms can you relate to, BEXY?
Well, I can relate to multiple ones. The worst is the exhaustion, I have to say that. I do get pain, but it's not frequent. It normally comes and goes and only happens for a couple of days, and it's pretty heavy pain. You just want to sleep. The exhaustion is probably the worst. I'm a bad asthmatic. It causes my asthma to come on quite frequently. Some days I'm okay, and other days I can't walk from the car to the shopping centre without being completely exhausted. There are some days too when my heart races and I've just got to lie down. The other biggest one is the cognitive function issues. Memory loss. Terrible. I can have days where I'm in the middle of a sentence and I forget what I'm saying in the middle of it. I can forget faces that I met the day before, things like that. It's very frustrating. Even doing obviously the videos on our new channel, I quite often have issues and have to start things again because I messed them up because I forget what I'm going to do. I do write things down, but obviously not everything. You improvise quite often. Dryness of the eyes and mouth, I get that. Cough for no reason, kind of like flu symptoms. Struggle with that as well. Issues with my stomach from it. I'm giving you lots of ums here because I'm thinking. And there's another one. Heart palpitations, yeah, I already said that. So I suffer quite a few of them. Clumsiness is another one, funny enough. I was clumsy already. But to be honest, there's a lot of problems. Like, for instance, doing this interview tonight, I've had to pause a couple of times because I continue to cough. And there's just really no reason except for the fibro. But days that I do get heavy pain, it's normally my arms or my legs, sometimes my neck. And it can be honestly just real pain in the neck, which is not all that funny, rather corny, but it's a nuisance. There's just no way known you can work full time with this problem. That's why I've started up this channel, to give this a go, because I can do it in my own time when I'm feeling okay. Hopefully that goes somewhere because I'm quite enjoying it so far. But that looks probably about all I can cover. I mean, there's hundreds of symptoms, hundreds. It's just It's just insane how many symptoms there are, and they all, you know, can be different things in that. Vitamin D deficiency, things like that, but I'm not vitamin D deficient. Obviously I've been tested. It's absolute nuisance. I've been suffering 2 years now, and it doesn't change, and it's very unpredictable. So even if you had a job with the rostered shifts, you could wake up in the morning and there's just no way known you could go there. Yeah.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks. No one knows what causes fibromyalgia. It's thought that it may be the result of genetic factors or things you've inherited and something from your environment. For example, exposure to a virus or illness. It's also believed that physical or emotional stress can trigger the start of fibromyalgia symptoms. However, fibromyalgia may also appear without any obvious cause. Fibromyalgia is more common in people with lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, family history of fibromyalgia, previous pain syndromes, an illness such as a virus or a recent illness or infection, pain from an injury or trauma, emotional stress and depression, mood disorders, substance abuse. There is sadly no cure for fibromyalgia, but treatment can help you manage your symptoms. Now, this question time's a little different. The whole reason Beck has got fibromyalgia was a few years ago I had, now a few years ago meaning probably 10.
Well, it's not really traceable which one of 3 people in the family have had glandular fever that I'm close to that have...
Yeah. Three family members in Beck's immediate family have had glandular fever, and sadly Beck contracted that from either myself, her mother, or my mother.
It's a bit of a nuisance. That seems to be the pinpoint from what specialists seems to be able to work out, that it was the glandular fever. Unfortunately, glandular fever can reactivate in a sufferer from stress and things like that. So I would have either caught it from one of those 3 people. They're under stress or whatever at the time, unfortunately. But then, you know, for at least a year after, I was still tired and it took the GP that long for me to see a specialist. So I've probably actually been suffering for 3 years, but obviously I wasn't diagnosed until about around 20 months ago, I think it was.
Yep. Thank you. Triggers for fibro flares. At times, the symptoms you experience as a result of fibromyalgia, example pain, fatigue, may become more intense. This is called a flare. Triggers vary from person to person. Understanding the things that cause your fibro to flare means that you can be prepared and take steps to lessen the effect. Flares can be triggered or made worse by several factors, including weather changes, overexertion, mental stress, illness or injury, travelling, hormonal changes, changes in treatment. Bexy, what sort of fibro flares do you get?
Well, I don't know if this is a flare, but insomnia is fun. That happens sometimes for a few days at a time. For instance, now I've slept a number of times today, and it's 5 a.m. because I just lay there and can't sleep. So we've gotten up to continue on with this because I'm awake and
alert.
Alert's a better word than the one that I can't think of. Damn those cognitive issues. Apart from that, though, if I overexert myself for a day or I'm under a lot of stress, I tend to get very severe pain in one of my limbs, where for a few days after I really don't want to do anything except what I really have to at home. It's a really, really heavy pain. It's awful. No painkillers really work for it. Even something like endone won't get rid of the pain. So I get those, and obviously the exhaustion. I get days or sometimes weeks of just non-stop exhaustion that just comes from certain triggers and that. Like I said before, overexertion, very, very bad idea with fibro. It's good to try and keep yourself active, obviously, but if you overdo it, you will pay for it for a few days after that. So it's and I'll say this a million times probably in this video, it's just a nuisance.
Thank you, Becky. Diagnosis. Fibromyalgia can be difficult to diagnose as the symptoms are common to many other conditions. It may take some time to establish a diagnosis of fibro, which can be very frustrating. Treatment. While there is no cure for fibro, symptoms can be effectively managed. This starts with a correct diagnosis. A management program will then be designed to meet your specific needs. Generally, management of fibro will involve a combination of learning about the condition, sleep, exercise, learning ways to manage the pain, stress management and relaxation, staying at work, massage, nutrition, support from others.
And just on a note there, the exercise thing, for example, before fibro I could do 5 to 7 kilometers for 45 minutes to an hour on a treadmill. Now I struggle to do 5 to 10 minutes at 2.5 kilometers. So I've gained unfortunately a series of a lot of weight from it after I'd lost a lot since fibro, and we're trying to work out ways for me to lose it again, but it's very difficult and it's very hard to stick to a exercise regime because like I said, some days or some weeks you're just awful. You just do what you can. Of course you try and do what you can, but then you've got to watch that overexertion as well. As for staying at work, a lot of fibro sufferers can stay at work. They have mild symptoms or symptoms less frequently. A lot cannot. In fact, some very unique cases are in wheelchairs, things like that. So it's very, very difficult. I myself, because of my exercise-induced asthma, I can't breathe properly a lot of days from just the exhaustion, and I've just got to go back to bed. So it's a very difficult one to work around. So, but we're trying to work around it. It's taking a while. Sleep is definitely key, and you do a lot of that with fibro. I find sleep quite boring now, to be honest, because my body wants to sleep more than it should.
Thanks for that, Bexy. Medication. Combined with other strategies, medication may be used to manage the pain, reduce stress, and promote sleep. There are different types of medication that the doctor may recommend depending on the symptoms each person has. Pain relievers, analgesics. Medications like paracetamol can provide temporary pain relief. Anti-inflammatory or analgesic creams and gels may provide some temporary pain relief. Antidepressant medications may be used in small doses to reduce pain.
So the problem with that I have is I'm one of those people that will take something like endone for pain or even antihistamine, and I get completely drowsy, absolutely awfully drowsy. I prefer to deal with the pain I get, honestly, at the moment, because it's severe, but it's not that often. And the problem is, if I take these medications, I'm more drowsy than I am every other day of the week, which is still pretty drowsy, but even worse. And then there's more sleep and sometimes silliness. I go a bit silly, especially endone. I talk non-stop. If I take that, that's it. It's just expect me to talk non-stop. I'll be dead tired, I'll be silly, but it'll be just non-stop. But it's already foggy enough when you look around every day. When you get up, you can't see properly. Those medications just make it worse. So, for me, obviously that's for me, and not for everyone. Obviously a lot of these things work for a lot of people, but for me, any sort of medication that can make you drowsy, it generally does for me. I mean, there are probably some out there that don't make me drowsy, but most do. I have to be very picky with any histamines or means, however you want to pronounce it. With my allergies I get, because I get hay fever, and if I don't pick the right one, there's only one I normally take now, you can't even wake me up when I go to sleep. Shaking me doesn't wake me up. I get severely tired from it. So, and as I said, endone makes me a bit silly and very, very tired after that. So, Panadol's probably the only one that doesn't make me slightly drowsy. Codeine will make me drowsy as well. As for antidepressant medications, I do suffer anxiety and depression, but I have been able to keep off those sort of medications at this stage, due to my preference, really.
Thanks for that, Bexy. You've been quite informative for us tonight. Okay, as I advised at the start of the video, all the details in this video is informational from the website of Move, Muscle, Bone and Joint Health, formerly known as Arthritis Victoria. To get more information, just go to their website on www.move.org.au. But if you want to explore fibromyalgia, arthritis, lupus, all those different types of diseases.
Well, I'm not sure what they're called. Condition would be good. I also have to state that anything that I said about myself is what works for me and what is my own opinion. Everything will work differently for different people, and different people have different opinions on the subject, but I follow, obviously, my specialist and my GP, and also how I feel about my condition myself. So it can be different for everyone. So if something doesn't work for you that I say, then it's because it works for me, and it's not everyone's going to be the same.
Exactly. Good point there, Bexy. Yeah, so if you want to find out anything about the other conditions, just go to the websites that are here on the video: Arthritis Research UK, Better Health Channel, Australian Physiotherapy Association, and also Exercise and Sports Science. Now, we've come to the end.
Just two, we're not doctors, we're not specialists. I'm just a sufferer. So you can't take anything that we say as facts. So it's only through my experience and how I feel. And as I said before, like I said, we're not doctors or specialists. We really can't. We can only give you information. You need to see a doctor or specialist about any of these sort of things. Don't just go off our details and go, oh, I've got fibromyalgia, and try and treat yourself. You really do need to see a doctor or specialist if you think you have one of these conditions, as there are too many related conditions like lupus, vitamin D deficiency, things like that can give similar symptoms. So as I said, we're not doctors, so obviously anything we say has to be taken with a grain of salt, really. What we're saying is generally the truth and what's being right for me, but from a legal standpoint, we aren't doctors. So this is just informational, and that's all it can be.
So now, as I said, you'll have a better understanding of why Bexy won't be able to do videos for a few days in a row. If you like the video, hit the like button below, and also feel free to subscribe for more videos. If you would like to support us, check us out on our Patreon link in the description below. Thanks for watching.
I'm Bexy.
I'm Mel. Bye.
Bye.